Welcome to Convos with Campos. I'm Lisa Campos, Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics here at UTSA, and I'm excited to welcome you to our first ever episode, where we're going to focus on leadership, particularly as it relates to empowering women at UTSA, in the San Antonio region, and beyond. We have some great guests scheduled for Convos with Campos, and I hope you'll benefit from learning from their stories. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Stephanie Schoenborn, the UTSA Chief of Police since 2022. Stephanie is a two-time graduate of UTSA and has worked at the university since 1993. She is a tremendous campus leader and a huge advocate of Roadrunner athletics. Chief Stephanie Schoenborn, welcome to Convos with Campos.
Thank you so much for having me, and I am so honored to be the first guest on your podcast. This is very exciting. Thank you.
Well, it's very fitting for you to be here. We're very excited.
Thank you.
So Stephanie, we're just going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're going to let the audience get to know a lot more about you.
Perfect.
All right. Chief, you come from a military family, and you spent part of your childhood in Germany. Talk about what it was like growing up in that environment and how it's helped shape who you are today.
Absolutely. So yes, I spent the first 15 years of my life in Germany. I moved here when I was a junior in high school. So very different environment growing up around the military kids and going to high school at a smaller school where the graduating class was 50 people. And then moving over to the States where I quickly transitioned to a school that the graduating class was 500. But part of my growing up overseas, I was very embedded in the German culture. I grew up learning how to speak German just like I learned how to speak the English language, speaking to my family overseas. I still communicate with them now, but I use Google Translate a little more often than I did that didn't exist back then. But the structure of the military was very formative in my transition when I even moved over to the United States. When you go to school over in DoD schools, you learn that you have to be friends with everyone. So when I moved to the United States and went to such a big school, I really truly did not experience discrimination or cliques. That did not exist to me. So I think that really molded who I was as a person and how I transitioned that into what I do every single day. I don't meet strangers. You have to become quick friends with everyone you come across when you grow up in that type of environment. My upbringing was a little bit different in that the reason that I moved to the United States at the age that I did was the opportunities really were very limited when you were a teenager growing up over in Germany. My father actually passed away on active duty when I was 9 years old, so it was just my mom and I. And as we were moving through as I was moving through high school, you really start to see the benefit of coming back to the United States and the opportunities that are over here.
Well, it sounds like an incredible transition. I'm
Yes.
sure you had to learn some pop culture. And by the end of this interview, maybe we'll get you to say something in German.
Absolutely.
So think about
absolutely.
that. Think about that. So, like many of our student athletes who choose UTSA for so many different reasons, what brought you to UTSA and how was that experience?
So I actually I must confess, I started at St. Mary's University and I took a few classes there and was transitioning some work experience and was hired by Aramark here at UTSA. And I quickly fell in love with what UTSA had to offer. Even in 1993, it was fun to see the potential and the growth that UTSA had to offer.
That's fun. And even now, it's still growing.
It has not stopped in 30 years. In all the years that I've been here, it has not changed.
Oh, that's great. So, Chief, we understand that you started along with Aramark. You also started your work life here at the Lost and Found as a Lost and Found clerk. So take us through that path, that journey from Lost and Found to law enforcement.
Absolutely. So I really was looking for a job with the state because the state had excellent benefits, and that was very important to me when transitioning from coming from the military. So having transitioned to the police department was very natural. The uniforms, the structure that came with it, I was very comfortable in that environment. Doing Lost and Found was fun. I was able to engage with students and the community, but I quickly wanted to do other things. And back in those days, in the 90s, the police officers actually hand wrote their reports, and they were turned into the records team to type. So I would type the reports that the police officers did back then. And I was reading everything that they were doing, and it looked like so much fun. And I was like, I want to do this. There are certain age requirements. I had to get a little bit in physical shape to go to the academy, but I was absolutely intrigued at learning what it was that the officers did and wearing the uniform. So through the time that I was transitioning and becoming more, running and doing all the things that I needed to do, I worked with our investigators doing very similar, typing their reports and doing background investigations. And it just made me absolutely fall in love with the police department and what it is that we did.
Well, it just shows when you're exposed to something and you have a passion for it, how it can become a career. So
Absolutely.
That's so great. So you earned both your bachelor's in criminal justice and your master's in public administration from UTSA. Talk about how that academic experience has just influenced your leadership and who you are today.
Once again, I'm going to have to make a confession that when you start in law enforcement, the academy was my focus. So I took a break from school. Life happens, and you take some time off. So an opportunity, I promoted very quickly. I was actually promoted to my first supervisor role within 18 months of graduating from the academy. But then I wanted to continue to progress, so I wanted to become a sergeant. A sergeant manages an entire shift of police officers. If you're there, if you're the midnight shift sergeant, you're in charge while everybody's at home sleeping. So I applied, I did very well on the interview, but I did not get the promotion. And the reason I did not get the promotion was because I did not have my degree. Mm-hmm. I didn't have my education. And I was not going to allow that to happen again. So that was all of the motivation that I needed to go back and get my bachelor's degree. Then, of course, you just transition, you go through other leadership experiences. I've served in almost every role at the police department, and that it moved me to then want to do more. I wanted to set an example for my kids by attending the FBI National Academy, attending training, but then also taking that next step to my master's degree. In all of the roles that I've had, once you go into a leadership position, as you know, managing athletics, you are also running a business, and that is what the Master's in Public Administration really supported me with, is you're in law enforcement and we have to do the job that it is that we do, but we also have to balance a budget, and we also have to manage human resources. So learning all of that through the master's program really helped with that, but public administration in particular, because it's not tied specifically to law enforcement. So you meet people that are in social work and health and all other genres, so you are more open-minded and you look at things differently than just from the law enforcement perspective. So that has really formed the direction that I've gone with my education.
That's great. Well, a couple of takeaways. I think we might rename this from Convos with Campos to Confessions with Campos.
There you go.
We can get some confessions here.
It is.
But really, what you talked about is how, and I always say this, that earning your degree can change the trajectory of your life, and that's an example that you just talked about, earning that degree to get that promotion.
Absolutely.
And then to be sitting here as the chief of police for UTSA Athletics. It just shows, again, the power of education and getting your degree.
And as new people come on board, that is the first thing, is you need to take advantage of the education while you're working here on campus.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Great. Well, I love that. So you've been a strong advocate for building trust and partnerships between the police and the community. Can you just share some key initiatives you've been a part of and why the work matters to you so much?
Absolutely. Students drives everything that we do on our campus. Our priority is a safe campus. As I transitioned into my role as chief, we had a light presence on social media, and I kept pushing my team. We need to do more. We need to do more. And we have a wealth of knowledge on our campus. So how better to engage with our students than to use our students to engage? We've had student employees in the past, and they come work for us, and they're like, we did not realize how much the police department does. And we really need to advocate and promote all of the great things that it is we do. And so my ask of them is help us do that and help us make that connection, and they have. It's been so beneficial just to continue to move forward with engaging with our students. And as you know, UTSA promotes experiential learning, and we've had students. We don't just hire criminal justice interns and students. We've got our Rowdy Watch Patrol, and we have marketing and communications, and we have tech teams. But what is very exciting is then they transition to full-time employees, and they continue to work with the department and share that with our community.
And I love that you talked about that UTSA, we are very strong in giving real life experience,
Yes.
right? And here in athletics, people have heard me talk about it, 100 students that work for UTSA athletics. And if it wasn't for the students, this place doesn't run, right? So never underestimate the power of the student. Give them responsibilities, and to your point, they're evolving, helping us evolve with whether it's social media. So just great assets on our campus that we continue to utilize.
Absolutely.
You've spent your entire professional career at UTSA. You are a roadrunner through and through. What is it about this university and community that's kept you here all these years?
Well, as we talked about earlier, the change and the growth and opportunity. I'm going to give my recruiting spiel that I always give when we're looking to hire new employees, but it holds true for employees, for students, anybody that wants to define who they are at UTSA. When you come, even for our department, we are relatively considered a small department, but I love to learn what somebody is passionate about and grow that. And you really become what you want to be when you come to UTSA. You make of it, I was a bike patrol officer. I loved riding bikes. I couldn't believe that they let me ride around and paid me to do that. So I became an instructor. And we encourage that, and UTSA does that. You come to UTSA and you find what it is that you love. You get involved, and when you leave UTSA or choose to stay if you work here, then it's just the tremendous growth. And now with integration, oh my goodness, the opportunities just seem endless. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it is. That's a perfect way to say it, is that this is opportunity is abound here at UTSA, and we have such supportive people to make it what we want it to be. Absolutely. In 2022, you became UTSA's first female chief of police after serving as interim. What does this milestone mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, no pressure. No pressure at all. So again, confessional, it was never my end goal to be a chief. I didn't realize that all of the things that I had been doing throughout my career had set me up to be the chief and put me in the right place at the right time. All of the mentors that I've had along the way, the leadership that has been willing to take a risk on putting me in that position, I am so grateful to them. I certainly do not want to let them down. I did not realize the impact of that until I was officially announced as the chief. I always like to call my interim the longest 8-month job interview that I've ever had in my life, but the outreach that I received when I was officially sworn in, and the encouragement and recognizing what that means to other officers and other, just as being a role model. There's a nonprofit group that exists in law enforcement. It's called 30 by 30. And the purpose of that group is to have 30% of law enforcement agencies be 30% female by the year 2030. And we're already there. And we're not even members of that organization. And I don't think that's by chance. I think that just through leadership and, having a supportive environment, and what we do at our department and what we do at UTSA, we're a family, and that's how we operate, and so I'm very excited for that. Well, I don't take it lightly.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so well deserved. We had worked before your appointment, and you could just see, what a rising star you are and continue to be. But your point that someone took a chance, right? And that someone was both for us was Dr. Amy.
Yes.
He hired a female athletic director, a female chief. You
Absolutely.
look at his cabinet. He has really invested and poured into female leaders for sure. So that's
Absolutely.
been really
Absolutely.
fun to be a part of that. Talk about some of your most fulfilling parts as your role as chief of police, and just serving, more broadly the safety for this community.
Absolutely. Of course, safety, that is why we were here. We are all here. And my role as chief is to communicate what it is that we do. But, as every day I try to get out of my office and walk around the campus and just see what is happening and what is going on, and see who it is that I come across. And it is an honor to be able to walk around the campus or engage and talk about the good work that it is that we do. Without a safe campus, we cannot continue to do the great things that it is that we do. And so as an ambassador, not just for the community, but also for the department as well, what we do is critical. And the more that I can engage and brag about the department and all of the hard work and how we love our community and how we love being a part of the community, is one of the most fulfilling opportunities that I have in the position that I'm in right now.
That's great. And your leadership shines as those that work for you. You just see them engaging the campus, engaging our students, coming to athletic events in uniform, not in uniform, and really supporting our students. So thank you for that leadership, because it starts with you. So a lot of people may not understand the scope of what UTSA Police Department does. What would you want for students, faculty, and staff to know about your team's work?
I agree. There are times that I even have to remind people that we do have a police department here, and we are state police officers. So we are part of the larger organization that is UT System Police. Across the state, we are close to 700 police officers across the state that wear the same uniform regardless of the institution that we are at. But I go back to even my previous comment, where what I really want people to know in the community is that we are a part of this community. And what we live and breathe being a part of, we're all students. We've been students. We hire students. So it is in our best interest. We love our community, and we want to keep it safe, and we want to engage. So to have that participation and the support, we are people like everyone else. So please don't be afraid to say hello. That is a challenge when you wear the uniform. When I do walk around the campus, I like to think that I'm approachable, but I know that the uniform can maybe frighten people. That might be a harsh word, but it can put people off. But we really are here to engage and support.
For sure. And I think one thing to really highlight, I had an opportunity, I started my career in student affairs, and I did all the campus conduct, and there's something really special about, you are full-fledged police officers from the state, but there's something to be said about the personalities and the characteristics of police officers who work on campus, that it is a little bit different.
It absolutely, it takes a unique person to engage. We, our community generally ranges from 18 to 21 years old, and so it takes a special touch. But we are also here to educate. We want to see the success of our community. We want to see our students come here as freshmen, and graduate and move on and be part of the greater community globally. And that is what we are here to support, absolutely. Yeah. And it does take a special person to
It does,
to
and it's just fun to see that police officers, you have to do your job, you have to, law and order, but at the end of the day, you and your staff are really wanting to ensure that students, like you said, are graduating or having a great experience.
Absolutely.
It is a little different than, again, patrolling in the city, right?
It is. When we get around and walk through the dorms, we're there because we want to say hello and see how things are going. But we also love the recent opportunities that your team even provided, where some of our officers threw out the first pitch at the baseball game and the softball game, and I was allowed to present the basketball, the ball game, and that was just a great honor. That was so much fun, even for our team. That made them feel so very special. So thank you for that.
That's great. Well, Chief, before the last question, I have to ask you this. It was not scripted.
Okay.
Did you play sports growing up?
I did not.
That's okay. That's okay.
I was a choir kid.
There you go. All right.
So I live vicariously through my kids, and my kids are band kids, and I call that a sport. They do marching band.
Yes.
But no, I did not play sports or do anything incredibly athletic until I went to the police academy, and then running became a passion, and then cycling was a tremendous passion for me.
So later in life, cycle?
I do cycle more than I do run, but I love hiking, and I love exploring San Antonio and the parks that we have.
That's great.
Yes.
Great. Well, for students or young professionals who admire your journey and want to follow a similar path, what advice do you have to offer them?
Do the hard things. There are so many opportunities that you don't recognize, that those challenges today are going to be what form you as a leader in the future. And embrace change. Change is exciting. Change can be a little unsettling, but it's absolutely what will keep you moving in the right direction. And look for those mentors. You may not even realize that they're doing it for you when they say, I need you to go do this thing, and it's a little bit out of your comfort zone. It's okay to do that. You will grow from it.
Well, clearly you did the hard things. You had great mentors.
Absolutely.
And we're now benefiting and blessed for that because of your leadership. So thank you so much for spending time, for being my first guest.
Thank you.
I'm very excited and honored to have you, Chief.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining the first episode of Convos with Campos podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We have so many more guests lined up, and I hope, again, you enjoyed their stories and learned from them. Thank you.